Is this the most disappointing Alabama season since when?
Since, I don't know, man. I mean, 2019 was very young and we had a lot of injuries.
And
We
yeah,
don't
that I
really
did.
have
I
a lot.
wasn't in, and you were in the playoff hunt until the last week when your backup quarterback in Nick Saban's House of Horrors threw 2 pick sixes.
Right.
If there's one building in the SEC, Nick Saban has, it's Auburn. Or one stadium, like building, like it's basketball. So I'm thinking 2010. That team returned
Yeah.
almost everybody and lost 3 games. Could this team lose
Yeah,
3
I think.
games?
Yeah, they did lose 3 games. They lost 2 in the regular season, one to South Carolina, one to Auburn in the Iron Bowl against Cam Newton, who obviously led the Auburn Tigers to the championship that
And
year.
they lost to LSU.
Did we lose to LSU that year? Because I was thinking we lost the bowl game.
No, they beat Michigan State and Kirk Cousins in the bowl game like 49-3.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the Capital One Bowl, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, Alabama doesn't care about this," and then they just destroyed Sparty. So I remember that because I didn't bet. I was 14 in 2010. So
yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it's just a disappointing year. Could Alabama lose another game this year? They got Auburn, who's going to have and it's at home, so I don't think they'll lose Auburn. But they go on the road next week to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
They could lose
one of the better offenses in the SEC right there.
And their run game's fantastic.
Yes.
Their run game's really yes, they got hammered by LSU, but you just lost LSU and you're going on the road.
Yeah.
Again. And Ole Miss has still got something to play for. Like LSU, they won tonight and they've looked pretty good, but they're not unfallible. Like I don't think LSU is like a great team. I don't think there's really any great teams in college football except maybe Georgia. It's not unthinkable that LSU drops another game to Arkansas or they lose to Texas A&M or something stupid happens. And right. Ole Miss is going to the SEC championship. So Ole Miss is going to have something to play for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, they're the team with everything to lose and everything on the line, whereas Alabama at this point, and I'm not saying we need to use this as an excuse to go lose another game or anything, because we obviously want to win every game we play. Nick Saban makes that very clear. But at this point, like I said earlier, like what does Alabama have to lose right now? Now that they already lost another game.
That's going to be the interesting thing is what do you do now?
Right.
Where do you go from here? Are you your season's over? Nothing really matters. Like New Year's Six, what's the difference to Alabama? What's the difference between a New Year's Six and the Citrus Bowl or whatever? Like, what's the difference to Alabama?
Right.
Do you have that mentality, or do you have the mentality of like, well, let's just go kick some butt? Like what do they do? If I had to bet, I would say they'd go out because they're not going to lose to Austin Peay. They're not going to lose to Auburn. So there's 2 more. They'll get to 9 wins. It's just going to like, can they beat LSU or beat Ole Miss on the road in Oxford and get that 10th win and probably play in a New Year's Six Bowl?
Yeah, well, I think if you're Nick Saban, knowing how he is, he said this when he first got hired. I remember listening to his introductory press conference, and he said, I want to win every game we play. It doesn't matter. And I've never gone out to play a game. We've never gone out to play a game that we did not want to win. So Nick Saban never takes any game lightly. We got Austin Peay in a couple weeks. I know people want to sit there and say Bama's going to blow them out like 55-0, something like that. It's a cupcake game before the Iron Bowl, like it always is. Nick Saban's not going to take it lightly. He wants this team to be disciplined, well-focused, have mental toughness, play with discipline, and just play to a standard of excellence every single game, no matter who it is. And basically what I'm trying to say is Nick Saban's not a quitter, no matter where he ends up at the end of the season.
And I ultimately I don't think it's up to Saban.
Right.
I think I I don't want to bet either way. I think they'll be fine. Like I think they'll win in Oxford next week.
Okay.
But it wouldn't stun me if guys like Dallas Turner or other guys that don't have, Will Anderson are like, well, our season's over. I got the NFL coming up. I don't want to get hurt. I just don't care anymore. We've seen it happen.
Right.
Guys get to the end of the year, season's over, don't care. And we'll see. The interesting thing for Alabama is this will be the first time ever we've really seen a ton of guys that are going to sit out a bowl game. Because they're not in the playoff. Like, what is Bryce Young's going to sit out that bowl game? Unless he's a hero, which he very well might be, because he's awesome.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting.
It will be.